I'm sure you have already heard how Jinshi proposed to Mama, but how does she react and what drove him to propose that way? Okay, so firstly, here's a little context. It's near the end of Volume 7, so new characters are introduced, and one of them is the Shrine Maiden, an important person from their neighboring country of Sheo, the same country where the two envoys, Isla and Aileen, were from. Another important thing is that Momo finally turns into a court lady after passing the exam with top position. There she has two more colleagues, En'en and Yao. Yao was from a wealthy family, and En'en was her lady in waiting. Now, I'm not going to go into the plot too much, but people were poisoned during the banquet. Momo attended as a food taster for Lakan, Yao was the food taster for the Shrine Maiden, and En'en was attending Jinshi. The food tasting went smoothly, but after a while, Yao collapsed on the ground and vomited. She was also trembling and holding her stomach. Lewin took her in his care and asked Momo to check the Shrine Maiden and the other who got poisoned as well. In short, both Momo and her dad looked at the patients separately. Momo thought that they were poisoned by an incense powder that had shikimi, a very poisonous plant material. Its symptoms included diarrhea, stomachache, and vomiting, though these symptoms might take some time to show. With these speculations, their main suspect was Aileen. But when they meet again in Jinshi's place, Lewin confirms that it was not because of the powder, but rather from a poisonous mushroom or fungus. This way, the suspect was the Shrine Maiden herself. Mama figured that she was wrong and went over everything again. After that, everybody went home, only Mama and Jinshi were left. "You're not going home with Sir Lewin?" he asked. She'd stayed behind and was boiling some water. "You seem awfully pale, Master Jinshi. How many days since you last got a proper sleep?" She throws a question for a question. Also, let's keep in mind that she didn't need it to be here, but she still chose to stay because she was worried about him. She was mixing some herbs that would help him get some sleep. "I've been sleeping every night," Jinshi retorted. "Let's try a different question. How many total hours have you slept in the last several days?" She questioned again. Jinshi started counting on his fingers. He didn't look likely to get through an entire hand, so he scowled and drank the tea. He was working very hard, Mama thought, and said, "Lady Suiren must be worried about you. And you're not?" Jinshi replied, the cup still at his lips. Mama didn't reply. Instead, she looked around for some sleepwear. Suiren entered at exactly that moment, but no sooner had she handed Mama a set of nightwear, she flew out again, meaning that she wanted Mama to help him change. I mean, she'd done it before, but she never liked it. Quite frankly, Mama thought that he could stand to dress himself, but he was someone who'd been given assistance in almost everything. So when it comes down to it, one of them was of far higher status than the other, and it was Mama who had to bend. She helped him and grumbled, "You make En'en do this for you?" He said he doesn't. "But you have her tie up your hair," she said, referring to what En'en had said to her before. "I was thinking and sensing that this could be jealousy, but I'm not sure." "That I do, but always under Suiren's supervision," Jinshi replied. "Always?" she asked. "To prevent the possibility of a swift stab from behind," he said. "She would never," Mama began to say, but she stopped. The thing was that En'en doesn't function well without her mistress Yao. So Mama thought that in a state of extreme Yao deprivation, there was no telling what En'en might do. Suiren can be overprotective. She's never even left us alone in a room together, Jinshi adds. Yet she left him and Mama alone in that exact situation. Mama notices that, but says nothing. "Suiren thinks quite highly of you," he spoke again. "That's not my fault," Mama said. She'd gained nothing from being in Suiren's good grace. So she took the empty teacup and was about to leave. But Jinshi caught her wrist. "You're always trying to put me off," he complained. Mama played clueless like always. She knew that staying in this room was dangerous, so she wanted to get out while the getting was good. But he wouldn't let go of her. "Suiren feels quite urgently that I should take a consort of my own," he said. "She claims it would mean less work for me." "I'm sure she's right," Mama replied, intent on acting as if the matter didn't concern her. "You know what I'm trying to say. How can you act so indifferent? Are you that desperate to avoid me?" She was about to blunt out a yes, but she slapped a hand over her mouth, though it was a little too late. "Were you about to blunt out a yes?" he asked. "Paid no mind, sir." Jinshi glowered at her. He was getting dark bags under his eyes. He should stop wasting time with me and get some sleep, Mama thought. He was obviously exhausted, and she wished she could just order him to go to bed, but Jinshi was still talking. "I can see why Sir Lumen look so harassed all the time. I can practically even understand how our honored strategist must feel. Hearing him, Maomao's ears started ringing. He was tired. She knew that. He had nowhere to vent his frustration, and he had a great many frustration to vent. On top of that, he was suffering from the lack of sleep. Any other time, he might have taken more care, might have known not to say what he said. She thought, and strangely, it wasn't the mention of the strategist that upset Maomao the most. It was the name Lumen that keeps reverberating in her mind. Like I said, today she had that rarest of things, a difference of opinion with her father, and somehow Jinshi has seized on it. Maybe he wasn't the only one who was tired. Maomao hadn't been sleeping so well herself, so at last she exploded. You're forever telling me that I need to use my word, Master Jinshi, but you are in no position to criticize. Everything you say to me, everything you do, it's like it's calculated to save you from ever having to actually say what you mean, to make me figure it all out. You know, you remind me of someone. You act exactly like a man who used to come by our brothel all the time. He was in love with one of the girls, but he would never just come out and say it. He thought it should be obvious from the way he acted. He was so sure he had a good thing going with this woman that he never sent her so much as a letter. I remember how sad he looked when someone else swooped in and snatched her away. He kept coming back to the brothel after that to get drunk and whine to the ladies. Well, in my opinion, he could have avoided all that heartbreak if he told the woman how he felt, clearly so that she knew where they stood. It was the least he could have done. Everything came out in a torrent. She felt like she'd said it all in one breath. It was strange, she thought, to hear so many words come out of her own mouth. Jinshi was no less startled, but the shock soon left his face, replaced by something else. He got off the bed and stared down at Maomao. Shit, now I've done it. She gave him a piece of her mind, and he was about to give her one back, and she was not ready. So I should be clear, should I? I should say what I mean. If I did, would you actually listen to me? Is that what you're telling me? I'm going to hold you to that. Right this minute, I'll say it all. Don't plug your ears. Listen to me. He grabbed her hands as she was in the process of trying to put her fingers in her ears. He was looking at Mama, but somehow he seemed almost embarrassed. Finally, he managed. Now listen to me, Mama. Listen closely. I'm going to make you my wife. He said it. He actually said it. To her, it sounded like a death sentence, and she realized that all his vagueness had actually been a show of kindness to her, because with her social status, the words once spoken were as good as a command. She couldn't fight them, she couldn't deny what he wished. Then she was blushing, but Mama was completely pale. It was like she wanted him to say it, but she was not ready to hear it. I wish there were an immortal here who could turn back time, she mumbled. Your internal monologue is showing. Jinshi snapped. He couldn't quite bring himself to meet her eyes, yet he hadn't let go of her wrists. An uncomfortable feeling hung between them. At length he sighed, saying, Be that as it may, you're right, that with things as they stand, making you my wife could only harm you. Neither of us wants that. He took a sip from the pitcher by the bedside in an effort to bring down the flush. For you, I will remove every obstacle that keeps us apart. One day, just know that. With that, he buried himself under the covers. I won't let what you fear come to pass, I swear it. Soon she heard him breathing evenly in sleep. And what Mama feared was Empress Gyokuyou. I don't think Master Jinshi knows, she thought. She didn't think that he was aware of the secret of his own birth, that he was the first child of the Emperor. What about Empress Gyokuyou? Does she know? And what did His Majesty want for Jinshi? What about Aduo? She keeps thinking, but then stops. It's never too good to know too much. Not good, 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 not good. But then she actually continued to think about the proposal for the first time. However, when Jinshi was going to discover the truth, would he still try to find a way to make things fair for her? Could he be able to create circumstances that would stop people from talking about them? No, even he couldn't do that. It was difficult, if not impossible, to create a situation that pleased everyone. And it only got harder the further you went up the social ladder. So in short, she didn't think it was possible for them to be together. But believe me, he does everything in his power to be with her. And she notices that, even in this scene, she wasn't against the idea of being with him. She was just worried about the status and Lady Gyokuyou, because since she's Empress and her son is the Crown Prince, so Jinshi's real identity being publicly known will make them her potential opponent, even if Jinshi wants the crown or not. But luckily, our beautiful boy had a solution for that as well. Mama shook her head and began to leave the room. At the doorway, she ran into Suiren, who was smiling and for some inexplicable reason giving her a thumbs up. All Mama could do was glare at the old lady as she went by. So Suiren is Jinshi's actual grandmother, and she has helped him in whatever plan he makes, including branding himself with Gyokyo's mark so that she could never think of him as her enemy. And she's so ready to make Maomao his bride that later in volume 13, she even sets up a room for them with the whole mood and everything. Anyways, that was it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening to me. Take care of yourself and goodbye.
No, you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you, but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change.